All right, for the plaintiff, Ms. Hunt, for the defense, Ms. White. About 4 minutes this time at 2 1/4. Here we go.
Begin. Before we bring in the jury, did counsel want to address the issue of calling the drug expert?
Yes, I believe counsel and I were going to talk about that over the lunch recess. I think it is something that we should be able to work out.
All right.
I have discussed with counsel the areas that I have concern about. I agree that we should be able to come to some agreement as far as that testimony, and perhaps we won't need to call the witness.
I agree. I may need to call the witness just for some evidence identification issues, but as far as the analysis of the drugs, we may have a stipulation.
All right. I will just let you work on that then.
Thank you.
Was there an issue with the witness on the stand at this time?
I just wanted the witness to be told about our discussions and the subjects that are not to be testified before the jury.
The witness is present, and I have discussed it with him.
Officer, you were present during our discussions without the jury. I assume you understand what we are talking about.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
All right. Did you want to inquire of the witness?
I can do that, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Officer, you are aware that the defendant has had prior contact with law enforcement. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
You are aware that the defendant has been arrested over 10 times. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
You are familiar with the circumstances of those contacts with your department?
Yes, I am.
You are aware we won't be discussing those in front of the jury at this time?
Yes, I understand that.
Do you have any questions about that?
No.
If there is nothing further on that issue, we can bring the jury in. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. We are ready to proceed.
We are back on the record. You may resume your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I do that, may I ask what exhibit number we left off with, Your Honor?
Your next in order would be 15.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's proceed.
Officer, before the break, we were talking about when you approached the defendant's home. Now, do you remember what time that was?
It was just after 2 in the afternoon.
All right, and how long had you been watching the house before you went in?
We had been on the street since early that morning.
And were you always focused on the defendant's home that day?
Yes, the surveillance of the defendant's home has been going on for some time.
Objection, non-responsive.
All right, sustained. Everything after yes is stricken. Next question.
I would ask Your Honor to mark as Exhibit 15 this diagram.
It may be so marked.
Is there an objection if I display it to the jury before it is in evidence?
I have no objection. Counsel has shown me the exhibits that she is planning to use, and I have copies as well.
All right, thank you.
Officer, do you recognize what we have marked as the next exhibit?
Yes, I do.
What does that depict?
That is a diagram of the house that we had been watching and that had been identified as the defendant's residence.
Is this located in the city of Anaheim
Yes, it is.
and in the county of Orange?
Yes, it is.
Now, you testified that you had been on the street since early that morning. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What time did you arrive on the scene?
I personally arrived at 6 a.m.
All right, now, we left off before the break discussing the approach to the defendant's home, and I believe you testified it was approximately 2 o'clock when you made entry in the home.
We first entered the garage. That's where the defendant was located, and that's where we first entered.
All right, tell us what happened when you first entered the garage.
Yes, ma'am. We entered the garage and observed the defendant to be standing next to a workbench located in the garage.
What did you do at that time?
We directed the defendant to place his hands where we could see them and step away from the bench.
Excuse me, Your Honor, if the witness could be directed to just testify as to what he personally did, that would make it easier.
How you guys doing?